Welcome. Today you will explore various points of interest around the Booker T. Washington High School campus, the first and largest public high school built for African Americans southeast of the Mississippi. You will learn about Washington High's iconic role in the African American community. It is a proud and rich history, having a presence in the Washington Park community since 1924. It was in September of 1924 when the school was constructed during Atlanta's major school building program. It consists of a four-story building of reinforced concrete with brick veneer walls built in a medieval eclectic style. An impressive mural on the wall on the main floor was done by artist Wilmer Jennings, a former student of Booker T. Washington High School. In 1933, Jennings was hired by the PWA, Public Works of Art Project, to paint a mural for Booker T. Washington High School. He was inspired to do this magnificent work after having observed the majestic piece of sculpture of Booker T. Washington. Artist Jennings stared at this empty long space of a wall and wondered how he could make it colorful. He decided to paint about the dignity of work and how hard work helps you to succeed. Thus, the sculpture and the mural speak to Booker T. Washington's philosophy about education and industry. The style of art here is cubist. Can see that in some of these depictions. So you may see various industrial fields represented here: sports, science, theater, music, manufacturing, carpentry, and home renovation and home economics. Many a Washingtonian have walked these hallowed halls, among them the best and the brightest. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., preacher and civil rights activist; Lena Horne, singer; Michael Hollis, Black-owned airline company Air Atlanta; Dr. Lewis Sullivan, former Secretary of Health and Human Services and President of Morehouse Medical School; and Mrs. Ella Mae Brayboy, who was responsible for placing the school on the National Register of Historic Places. In a 1983 AJC interview with Linda Sherbert, singer Lena Horne recollects her Atlanta childhood. She went to Booker T. Washington Junior High, as it was known then, in 7th grade, and to Summerhill Grade School in 6th grade. She lived on West Hunter Street. In her 1965 autobiography, she described her home as a large red brick house on West Hunter Street in a solid middle-class neighborhood. The home had a front yard and a backyard and a sun porch. Lena Horne's career spanned 50 years, including a 1943 co-starring role with Cab Calloway in the movie Stormy Weather, based on the career of Bill Bojangles Robinson. The title song would later become one of her signature songs.
There's no sun up in the sky, stormy weather, since my man and I ain't together. Keeps raining all the time.
Born Sarah Jean Parker in Columbus, Georgia, Jean Carn's remarkable voice was first heard in the 1970s. While attending Booker T. Washington High School, Carn learned to speak Russian fluently. Carn's first exposure to the public was as a teenager in Atlanta, singing Misty on a morning radio show. In 1986, Carn joined Omni Records, which produced her first #1 hit, Closer Than Close.
Just one magic look into your eyes.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born Michael Luther King Jr., but later had his name changed to Martin. His grandfather began the family's long tenure as pastors of the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, serving from 1914 to 1931. His father has served from then until the present, and from 1960 until his death, Martin Luther acted as co-pastor. Martin Luther King Jr. attended Booker T. Washington High School for a while, but left early to enroll at Morehouse College. He received the BA degree in 1948 from Morehouse College.
There's a little song that we sing in our movement down in the South. I don't know if you've heard it, but it has become the theme song. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. Though I join hands so often with...
Mrs. L.D. Shivery wrote the lyrics to the school song, and the head of the music department, Mr. Graham Jackson, composed and arranged the music for it. The school song is sung at many school traditions and ceremonies.
You can hate, listen, love, or ignore me, but buckle up for my West Side Story. Where do we go from here? You can hate, listen, love, or ignore me, but buckle up for my West Side Story. Where do we go from here? It's where our hearts belong. They'll always sing this song. Where do we go from here? Hey, hey. Where do we go from here? Just know that all our stories started on that west side.
Oh, what does Booker T. Washington mean to you?
And what does Booker T. Washington mean to you?
What does Booker T. Washington mean to you?
Oh, what does Washington mean to you?
We come to this school day in and day out. But how many of us think about what the school really means to us?
Washington is my heart.
Join us as we matriculate from class to class to understand what Booker T. Washington means to us.
Once you all leave here, you become model citizens for the community, as in leaders and as in educators. That's the mentality of the teachers that are here now, trying to make the students better.
Such as like Miss Lightfoot, I know she actually cares about us because when she gives us a test back to redo it, she gives us the test. She tells us to do test corrections, which is basically her giving us the answer, and we have to explain to her why we got the answer wrong.
Like, think about people who are in a casket and the way Barbie looks.
And she gives us the opportunity to redo it based on that.
Washington, a place where, you know, they cater to the students and they introduce all these new opportunities and they bring about all this money, all these grants, all these like scholarships and things that, you know, being a senior about to graduate, I wouldn't even think I would have been able to have as a senior anywhere else.
Morehouse School of Medicine actually has a partnership with Washington for internships, paid internships for Washington students this summer.
Well, as a student here, the 3 years that I've been here as an 11th grader, I really feel like we're a family. It's a close-knit community. I can tell that the teachers really care, and that's something I don't feel you could get at every school.
3 of the principals that are behind me attended Washington, and their main motivation was to get students to become aware of the historical significance of the school. The historical aspects, as well as becoming productive citizens, were part of our makeup. The teachers were trying to incorporate it in the lesson plan, and that had a tremendous impact on probably 70 to 80% of the student population at that time.
Let's explore why Booker T. Washington is a historical school. But first, let's meet the man.
Booker Telfair Washington was born on a Virginia plantation on April 5th, 1856. In 1865, he and his family gained freedom due to the Emancipation Proclamation.
This is a picture of his home in Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, where he actually died. He believed in a vocational education. That's what Tuskegee Institute actually started as, a vocational school, but later on went to be Tuskegee University, where they taught sciences and maths more than just vocational school.
Before the 1920s, there were no public schools for children of color in Georgia. For a number of years, the local black community met great opposition as they fought to correct this injustice. Eugene C. Washington was the architect who built the school and many other famous landmarks in the Atlanta area.
In 1924, Booker T. Washington High School became the first public high school for black students in the state of Georgia and in the southeast region. Outside a four-story medieval eclectic-style brick building, there stands a statue of Booker T. Washington. The statue reads, "He lifted a veil of ignorance from his people and pointed the way to progress through education and industry." This inscription stands before every individual that enters the doorways of Atlanta, Georgia's Booker T. Washington High School.
And the alumni are a proud group because the school was an important role for them to rise and become who they became. You might have already gotten that feeling, how strong the alumni feel about the school during the tailgating, during homecoming, and how they come back and give scholarships for the graduating seniors.
There have been many people, because of the history of Washington, wanting to be a part of that history. And then there have been people that just want to get a job. And when they come in here and they start learning about the history of the school, it becomes a part of their makeup, trying to make the school better and trying to make the people that attend the school better. And I hope that as you all get older and have your kids and grandkids, you will remind them about the Washington tradition.
I guess that we're learning from the changes here at Booker T. Washington to help us in the future when the real life changes are thrown our way.
Like, I not only contribute to Booker T. Washington, I also contribute back.
Booker T. Washington is basically at its highest point since it's been in a while. Especially last year was their graduating class did exceptionally well. Actually, one of the highest SAT score in Atlanta came out of this school, so leads me to believe that the graduation rate here is going to be pretty high in the following years.
Washington that's my place. I couldn't imagine going to any other high school, graduating from any other high school. Washington is it for me.
One last question. What does Booker T. Washington mean to you?
For me, and probably a lot of other students, a marking point in someone's life. It depends on how you take it in, because some students take it in as where I have to learn more about him. I can't just go to a school and not know who he is and what he has done. Because
I knew that, it motivated me to try to do the best that I could on any given day so that I could be a model for those that were coming behind me. And I hope that you all feel the same way. You want to be a model for those coming behind you because you do, even though you may not feel like it now, you have a great deal to contribute to this community and the community at large.
You can hate, listen, love, or ignore me, but buckle up for my West Side Story. Where do we go from here? You can hate, listen, love, or ignore me, but buckle up for my West Side Story. Where do we go from here? It's where our hearts belong. West Side.